Yo, what's up everybody? This is Marcus from the Weekly Spot, back again with another review, and today I'll be doing a book review of Bad Luck and Trouble, the 11th book of the Jack Reacher series written by Lee Child. When ex-military policeman Jack Reacher was hanging out somewhere in Portland, he gets a coded message from Francis Neely, a former member of his old unit, the 110th MP Special Investigations. And when they met up, she tells him that a member of their unit was murdered, and with the others either being dead or missing, Reacher and Neely reunited with the surviving members of their team to find out who is after them and why. But the deeper they go into this mystery, they soon realize that this case is much bigger than what they ever could have imagined. This was an awesome book. What I really like about this is that if you read any of the other books before this one, you know that Jack Reacher is a badass. Like, Jack Reacher is a badass by himself. But in this one, not only do you got him, but you got his team now who are also pretty cool and badass. And I like the relationship that they have. I thought there was some pretty good chemistry between Reacher and his team. You got Francis Neely, who made her first appearance in Without Fail, which is the 6th book in the series. And I read this first. I read this before Without Fail, so this is like my first introduction. And I gotta say, I like the character. She's very smart. She's badass, and we learned that she, avoids any personal relationship. She's very private and resists any kind of physical and emotional closeness, and she doesn't like being touched. And when I was looking up her character after watching the first season of Reacher, in which she makes an appearance in, I read that she I'm probably going to say this wrong, but hapheophobia, which by definition, in case you don't know, is an intense, overwhelming fear of being touched. And what I think is interesting and kind of crazy is that when Reacher was talking about her, he said that when he worked with Neely, he said that not only was he impressed by her, but sometimes he was even scared by her, which I think is pretty crazy coming from an intimidating guy like Reacher. And then there's David O'Donnell, who Reacher describes as like the meticulous one in the unit that's often underestimated because he looks like a white-collar worker. And I thought he was pretty cool, and I like that his signature weapons when it comes to combat is dual wielding with a switchblade and brass knuckles. And there's Carla Dixon, who, just like Reacher, she's a numbers person. She's good with mathematics and is also Reacher's love interest. Much like Jodie Garber from a Tripwire, which is the 3rd book in the series, they have a shared history, so there is like a deeper connection there. They had some unresolved feelings. You learn that they had feelings for each other in the past, but Reacher, he never pursued it because, they worked together and he was the leader of the team, which is understandable. And I feel like their relationship wasn't really on the forefront of the story, not like Jodie or Roscoe, but from what we got, I like the relationship. And as for the rest of his unit, though they don't really make an appearance, they still play a big part in the story. The story I thought was really good. It had a pretty crazy start though. Like, without trying to spoil too much, one of the guys, like I said, from Reacher's unit was killed, but before that, his legs were broken, so he was already messed up pretty bad. But he was then taken to a helicopter and was dropped from 3,000 feet, and that's how the book started. And from there, I was hooked, But yeah, it had some pretty good action. It was suspenseful, a great mystery that kept me intrigued like all the way through. And since Reacher kind of comes off as a loner, I like that this book was about a reunion with his old friends and colleagues. And what I find really interesting about this book is Reacher actually rethinking and questioning about his decisions about his drifting lifestyle. Because Reacher, after leaving the army, he became a drifter, and he travels very light, very little baggage, no phone, no ID, no credit cards. He's carried some cash with him. He carries whatever that he has in his pockets, and the only clothes that he has are the clothes that he has on. So again, he travels very light, although I don't know if this is like I don't know if this book was the first introduction to this, but it is explained that after 9/11, with restrictions on wire transfers and a lot of fraud, he now has to carry a ATM card and a passport. So he has changed a little bit of how he travels. You know, everything else is pretty much the same. And I do want to add this because I thought this was funny. Reacher had a folding toothbrush, and there was a moment in this book where some guys broke into his hotel room and his team's hotel rooms, and they were, you know, they destroyed everything, including Reacher's toothbrush, and he was not happy about that. Which I don't think anybody would be happy about that, because you don't mess with people, because you don't mess with people's stuff. But I just thought it was funny because Neely, O'Donnell, and Dixon, like, they had a bunch of stuff, and Reacher, like, that toothbrush was all that he had, and he even said that, you know, with his toothbrush gone, now he has nothing. Like, that's really all that he had, while everybody else had way more than that. But anyways, Reacher learns that all the members of his team have moved onward and upward from the military. They have jobs, they're settling down, etc. And while he is happy for the others' successes, he feels that if he's not, you know, doing much with his life, like, there are moments where he's like, I wonder what my team thinks of me, because these are his friends, you know, these are people that look up to him, these are people that admire him. He was the team's leader, and, you know, he's not the same person that he was when he was in the military. So Reacher, you know, he seems like he's feeling, you know, a little embarrassed, if that's the right word. And Reacher usually comes off as a confident guy, so it's interesting to see this side of the character. And as for the villain, well, there's two villains in this. The main one is Alan Lemazon. I probably butchered that name, but he's the head of a security division at a company that plays a big part in the story. And there's Azaria Mahmood, AM for short, an arms dealer, and I thought he was okay. I would say I like him a little bit more because I like the mystery behind the character. Like, the book will go back and forth to Reacher and his team to AM doing, you know, things like changing his name everywhere he goes. He has different aliases, and it's like, okay, who is this guy, and what is his involvement in the story? And you do, you know, eventually find out, and like everything, you know, it all connects at the end. Alan, I thought, was an okay villain as well. He was pretty diabolical, though, I will say that. Like, I could not wait for Reacher and the others to get to him, and when they did finally get to him, it was pretty satisfying. Overall, Bad Luck in Trouble was an awesome book. I love the characters. I love the story. It has some pretty good action. I like the mystery. I like the suspense. This is, to me, one of my favorite Jack Reacher books in the series, and I think is one of the best in the series. So I give Bad Luck in Trouble a 5 out of 5. Now that'll be it for this video and my review for Bad Luck in Trouble, and let me know what you think of the book. This is Marcus from the Weekly Spot. More content will be coming out soon, but until then, take care, everyone.